Olivia Daniels adjusted her camera settings and scanned the opulent ballroom of the Westbrook Hotel. The annual Children's Hospital benefit was exactly the kind of event. She disliked photographing wealthy people pretending to care about causes while networking and showing off their designer clothes. But the paycheck would cover her rent for the month, so she plastered on a professional smile and continued capturing the perfect angles of San Francisco's elite. "Excuse me, could you take one more of our group?" A woman in a glittering gold gown waved her over, champagne sloshing dangerously close to the rim of her flute. "Of course," Olivia replied, positioning herself to capture the cluster of socialites. "Beautiful smiles, please." As she reviewed the shots, Olivia felt someone watching her. She glanced up to find a tall man in an impeccably tailored charcoal suit observing her from across the room. Unlike the other guests who seemed determined to be seen, he stood slightly apart, studying the crowd with intelligent eyes. When their gazes met, he didn't look away. Olivia returned to her work, but found herself inexplicably drawn to that corner of the room throughout the evening. The mysterious man seemed to notice, a slight smile playing at the corners of his mouth whenever she glanced his way. "That's Jonathan Reed," whispered Tessa, the event coordinator, following Olivia's gaze. "Founder of Prism Technologies. Worth billions and notoriously private. We were shocked when he actually RSVP'd. I'm just trying to get a good shot of everyone," Olivia mumbled, embarrassed at being caught staring. "Well, good luck with that. 1. He's refused every photographer so far. Hates having his picture taken." As the evening progressed, Olivia circulated through the crowd, capturing candid moments between the champagne toasts and charity auction. She was adjusting her lens when she backed directly into someone solid. "I'm so sorry," she began, turning, to find herself face to face with Jonathan Reed. "Entirely my fault," he said, his voice deep and measured. "I was admiring your work." Olivia blinked in surprise. "My work? You're not just taking pictures. You're telling stories." He nodded toward a shot she'd just taken of an elderly couple dancing. "That's art, not documentation." Heat crept up Olivia's neck. "Thank you, Mr. Reed. Jonathan, please." He studied her with curious intensity. "You seem out of place here." "Says the billionaire hiding in the corner," she retorted before she could stop herself. Instead of being offended, Jonathan laughed, a sound warm and genuine. "Touché. These events are necessary, but rarely enjoyable." "Then why come?" "The Children's Oncology Wing saved my niece's life last year." His expression softened. "Some debts can't be repaid with just money." The honesty in his answer caught Olivia off guard. Before she could respond, Tessa appeared at her elbow. "Ms. Daniels, we need photos of the auction winners." "Of course," Olivia nodded. To Jonathan, she added, "Duty calls." "Before you go," he said, reaching into his jacket pocket and producing a business card. "I've been looking for a photographer for a corporate project. Someone with your eye for authenticity would be perfect." Olivia hesitated before accepting. The card, "I mostly do events and portraits." "That's exactly why I'm interested. Too many corporate photos look staged." His fingers brushed hers as he handed her the card. "Call me if you're interested." As Olivia hurried away to photograph the auction winners, she tucked the card into her camera bag, trying to ignore the flutter in her stomach. Jonathan Reed was undeniably attractive, but men like him lived in a different world. Still, as she caught him watching her one last time before he slipped out of the gala, Olivia couldn't help wondering what it might be like to step into that world, even briefly. 3 days after the gala, Olivia sat in the sleek reception area of Prism Technologies, nervously adjusting her portfolio. The 40-story glass building in downtown San Francisco screamed power and innovation, making her feel even more out of place in her simple black blazer and jeans. "Ms. Daniels?" A polished assistant appeared. "Mr. Reed will see you now." Jonathan's office occupied the top floor, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of the bay. He stood as she entered, his smile warming his otherwise serious face. "Olivia, thank you for coming." He gestured toward a sitting area rather than his imposing desk. "Coffee?" "Please," she replied, trying to calm her racing heart. As Jonathan poured from a carafe, Olivia noticed his movements, precise and deliberate. Everything about him exuded control. "I reviewed your website," he said, handing her a cup. "Your work has soul. Rare in commercial photography. Thank you." She took a careful sip. "Though I'm still not sure why you're interested in hiring me. Your company must have access to the top commercial photographers in the country." Jonathan settled into the chair opposite her. "That's exactly the problem. I'm launching a new initiative focused on how our technology impacts real people. I need someone who captures humanity, not polished corporate facades." "And what does Prism Technologies do, exactly?" Olivia asked. A shadow passed briefly over Jonathan's face. "We're developing communication systems that can function during natural disasters and infrastructure failures. The project is called Blackwater." Olivia nodded, but something in his explanation felt rehearsed. "Sounds important." "It is." Jonathan leaned forward. "The project requires traveling to several of our research facilities. Tokyo, London, Singapore. All expenses paid, of course, plus your standard rate." Olivia nearly choked on her coffee. "International travel?" The opportunity was incredible, but suspiciously generous. "Why me?" she asked directly. "There must be hundreds of photographers more qualified." Jonathan studied her for a moment. "Instinct. I trust mine." Later that evening, Olivia researched Prism Technologies while nursing a glass of wine in her modest apartment. The company was legitimate and wildly successful, but several articles mentioned corporate espionage concerns surrounding their latest innovations. Most interestingly, a competitor called Nexus Systems had recently hired several former Prism employees. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Dinner tomorrow?" "To discuss the project details." "Jonathan." Olivia hesitated before replying yes, aware she was stepping into something beyond a simple business arrangement. What Olivia didn't know was that Jonathan sat in his penthouse apartment, reviewing a detailed file on her background. His security team had flagged concerning connections. Her former boyfriend worked for Nexus Systems and had been implicated in several data breaches. Jonathan needed to determine if Olivia was an unwitting pawn or something more dangerous. Both harbored secrets as they prepared to meet again, each drawn to the other despite their caution. Jonathan closed the file, troubled by his growing personal interest in a woman he couldn't fully trust. Meanwhile, Olivia stared at his text, wondering why a man like Jonathan Reed would really notice someone like her, and what price might come with his attention. The restaurant Jonathan chose was intimate and discreet, tucked away in a historic building with private alcoves and subdued lighting. Olivia arrived to find him already seated, his attention immediately focusing on her as she approached. "You look beautiful," he said, standing to greet her. "Thank you." She smoothed her simple navy dress, conscious of its modest price tag compared to the other diner's attire. As they settled into conversation over exquisite food and wine, Olivia found herself surprisingly comfortable with Jonathan. Behind his powerful facade was a man of unexpected depth, passionate about his work, knowledgeable about art, and possessing a dry wit that repeatedly made her laugh. "My father was a firefighter," he explained when she asked about his disaster communication project. "He died because his radio failed during a warehouse collapse. Technology that could have saved him existed. It just wasn't implemented." "I'm sorry," Olivia said softly, understanding his drive better now. Their hands brushed as they both reached for the wine bottle, and neither pulled away immediately. The connection between them hummed with possibility. "Tell me about your ex-boyfriend," Jonathan said abruptly. "Peter Wilcox." Olivia froze. "How do you know about Peter?" "I research everyone I work with," Jonathan replied, his expression unreadable. "His position at Nexus Systems raises questions, given our corporate rivalry." "You investigated me?" Olivia's voice hardened. "What else do you know?" "That you lived together for 2 years. That you left suddenly 6 months ago." His eyes searched hers. "That 3 weeks after your departure, Nexus announced a breakthrough suspiciously similar to Prism's confidential research. And you think I had something to do with that?" Anger flared in Olivia's chest. "I think Peter Wilcox used his personal connections to steal intellectual property. Whether you were involved is what I'm trying to determine." "I left because I found out he was married," Olivia snapped. "His wife called me. I moved out that day and haven't spoken to him since." She gathered her purse. This dinner was a mistake. Jonathan caught her wrist gently. "Olivia, wait. Please." "Why? So you can accuse me of corporate espionage?" "No, thank you." "I had to ask," he said quietly. "There's too much at stake." "Including?" "My dignity?" She pulled her hand away. "I'm sorry." For the first time, Jonathan looked uncertain. "I didn't handle this well?" Olivia remained standing, torn between walking out and hearing him out. "Nexus has been systematically targeting Prism for years," he continued. "Blackwater could save countless lives, but its technology has military applications too. I can't afford to be careless." The sincerity in his voice gave her pause. "So this job offer, was it just to investigate me?" "Initially?" "Yes," Jonathan admitted. "But after meeting you at the gala, reviewing your work, double quotes." He hesitated. "My interest became personal, too." Olivia slowly sat back down, unsure whether to be flattered or insulted. "I don't appreciate being manipulated." "Fair enough," Jonathan nodded. "Full disclosure from now on." As the evening progressed and tensions eased, Olivia found herself drawn back to him, despite her better judgment. When he drove her home and walked her to her door, the air between them crackled with unspoken possibility. "The job is still yours if you want it," Jonathan said softly. "No strings, no suspicion." Olivia studied his face in the dim hallway light. "I'll think about it." He nodded, then leaned forward slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His lips met hers in a kiss that started gently but quickly deepened with surprising intensity. Olivia's back pressed against her door as Jonathan's hand cupped her face, his touch both tender and urgent. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing heavily. "I shouldn't have done that," he murmured, though his eyes suggested no regret. "Probably not," Olivia agreed, even as her fingers remained curled in his shirt. "I'll call you tomorrow?" It was both a statement and a question. Olivia nodded, unlocking her door with unsteady hands. As it closed between them, she leaned against it, heart pounding. She was falling for a man who had investigated her, suspected her, and now wanted to hire her. Nothing about this made sense, yet as she touched her lips where his had been, Olivia knew she would accept his offer, despite all the reasons she shouldn't. The Tokyo research facility of Prism Technologies overlooked the city from a sleek building in Roppongi Hills. For the past week, Olivia had been photographing the teams working on Blackwater, capturing the human element behind the cutting-edge technology. Despite her initial reservations, she had grown passionate about the project's potential to save lives. She and Jonathan had maintained professional boundaries during working hours, but their evenings had been at different story dinners and hidden restaurants, walks through temple gardens, and increasingly intimate nights that left Olivia breathless and confused. She was falling for him, hard and fast. "These are extraordinary," Jonathan said, reviewing her photographs in his temporary. Office. His fingers brushed hers as he handed back her tablet. You've captured exactly what I wanted. The project sells itself, Olivia replied. Your engineers believe in what they're doing. Before Jonathan could respond, his security chief, Nathan, burst in without knocking. Sir, we have a situation. There's been a breach in the Singapore facility. Jonathan's expression hardened instantly. How bad? Complete server access. Prototype specs, everything. Nathan hesitated, glancing at Olivia. And there's something else you should see. Privately. Jonathan nodded. Give us a minute. After Nathan left, Jonathan turned to Olivia. I need to handle this. Dinner later? Of course, she replied, trying to ignore the sudden tension in the room. As Olivia gathered her equipment, Jonathan's tablet lit up with a notification. The preview clearly showed her name in the message. Before she could look away, she caught a fragment. Daniels confirmed contact with Wilcox yesterday. Via, her blood ran cold. They were still monitoring her. That evening, Olivia paced her hotel room, waiting for Jonathan's call. When a knock came instead, she opened the door to find him standing there, his expression grim. Were you going to tell me about your call with Peter? He asked without preamble. He called me, Olivia said defensively. I didn't initiate contact. And you didn't think that was worth mentioning, given everything? He wanted to explain about his wife. Olivia crossed her arms. I told him to leave me alone. That's it. The timing is suspicious, Olivia. The day after you photograph our secure servers, your ex-boyfriend from our main competitor calls you, and then we have a massive security breach. You think Olivia stepped back, hurt flooding her chest. After everything between us, you still don't trust me. I want to, Jonathan said, his voice softening. But I've been wrong about people before, and it cost me dearly. Check my phone, Olivia challenged. Check my emails, my calls. I have nothing to hide. Jonathan ran a hand through his hair. I don't want to be this person, Olivia. Suspicious. Guarded. But Blackwater isn't just a project to me. It's my legacy. And I'm just a potential security threat, she finished bitterly. No. He stepped closer, catching her hand. You're the woman I'm falling in love with, and it terrifies me. The confession hung between them, unexpected and raw. Before Olivia could respond, Jonathan's phone rang. His expression darkened as he answered. Where? When? His eyes locked with Olivia's. Keep her safe. I'm on my way. What's happening? Olivia asked, suddenly afraid. Peter Wilcox is in Tokyo. He checked into this hotel an hour ago. Jonathan's voice was tight with controlled panic. And he's not alone. Nexus sent a team. I swear, I didn't. I know, Jonathan. Cut her off. Because they're not here for my project anymore. According to our intelligence, they're here for you. For me? Why would they? Because you've seen everything. The technology, the facilities, the security protocols. Jonathan was already moving, gathering her belongings. They think you're my weakness. And they're right. As reality crashed around her, Olivia realized how deeply she'd become entangled in a corporate war she barely understood. Yet as Jonathan protectively guided her toward the service elevator, one truth clarified amid the chaos. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. The safe house outside Kyoto was traditional Japanese architecture nestled among bamboo groves. 3 months had passed since Tokyo, 3 months of security protocols, legal battles, and separation. Nexus Systems had imploded after their attempted corporate raid backfired spectacularly. Peter Wilcox faced industrial espionage charges, and Jonathan had finally cleared Olivia's name completely. Yet they hadn't spoken directly since that night in Tokyo, when Jonathan's security team had whisked her away to safety while he stayed behind to confront the threat. Their only communications had been through intermediaries, formal professional, distant. Olivia set down her camera, capturing the evening light filtering through the bamboo. This remote photography assignment had come through her agent, a chance to document traditional Japanese craftsmen for a prestigious magazine. She hadn't questioned the timing or location, eager for distance from the chaos her life had become. The sound of footsteps on the gravel path made her turn. Jonathan stood 20 feet away, more casual than she'd ever seen him, in jeans and a simple button-down shirt. He looked tired, his face leaner, with shadows under his eyes that hadn't been there before. "Your agent works for me," he said by way of greeting. "I hope you'll forgive the subterfuge." Olivia's heart thundered in her chest. "That's becoming a pattern with you." A small smile touched his lips. "Old habits. Why now?" she asked. "After 3 months of silence, the investigation is complete. Nexus's board members have been indicted. You've been formally cleared of any involvement." Jonathan took a step closer. "And I've stepped down as CEO of Prism Technologies." "You what?" Olivia stared in disbelief. "But Prism is your life." "It was," he corrected, "until I realized what I was becoming: suspicious, isolated, seeing threats everywhere." Another step closer. "Until you, Jonathan... I've spent my life building walls, Olivia, creating systems and protocols to protect what's mine." His voice grew softer as he closed the distance between them. "But you slipped past every defense." "I never meant to disrupt your life," she said quietly. "You didn't disrupt it. You woke me up." He stood before her now, close enough to touch. "Blackwater launches next month. It will save lives, just as I planned. But I realized I don't want to watch that happen from behind security screens anymore." "What do you want?" "A second chance," Jonathan said simply. "With you?" The evening breeze rustled the bamboo around them as Olivia considered his words. The attraction between them had always been undeniable, but was it enough to overcome their complicated beginning? "I've spent 3 months thinking about you," she admitted, "wondering if what I felt was real or just the intensity of the situation. And..." His eyes searched hers. Instead of answering, Olivia closed the final distance between them. Her lips found his in a kiss that spoke of longing, forgiveness, and possibility. Jonathan's arms encircled her, pulling her against him as though afraid she might disappear again. When they finally broke apart, the setting sun cast them in golden light. Jonathan rested his forehead against hers. "I've arranged to stay in Japan for a month," he murmured. "I thought we could start again. Slowly, properly. No corporate espionage or security threats." Olivia laughed softly. "That sounds unusually normal. I'm trying something new." His smile was tender as he brushed a strand of hair from her face. "Though I can't promise I won't be overprotective sometimes." "And I can't promise I won't be stubborn and independent," she countered. "I'm counting on it." Jonathan took her hand, interlacing their fingers. "The craftsman you're supposed to photograph tomorrow actually exists. 83 years old, 3rd generation. Bamboo artist. He's expecting us both." As they walked hand in hand toward the traditional house, Olivia realized that their story had never been conventional. A billionaire tech CEO and a struggling photographer, thrown together by suspicion and separated by circumstance. Yet somehow, against all odds, they had found their way back to each other. The bamboo forest whispered around them, witnesses to a new beginning built on truth rather than secrets. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together too. People who had learned that the greatest security came not from walls and systems, but from trust freely given and honestly earned.